And it's very, very sad, but I have to say that the extraordinary tributes and the memories that everybody has had and been willing to share.
For decades, Prince Edward remained in the shadows, the quietest of the royal family. While headlines screamed with scandal, divorce, and controversy, he stayed silent, never seeking attention, never making a public statement, always loyal to the crown. But now, at 61, that silence has finally ended. And what he has revealed could change everything we thought we knew about the royal family. Why would a man so private choose now to speak? What is it about Princess Diana that has finally pushed him to break his silence? Could the truths he shares rewrite the story of the monarchy and the way the world remembers her? The silent prince speaks. Majorly, the public focused on the drama between Charles and Diana, their troubled marriage.
Prince Charles' new revelations about his marriage to Diana, what he was really like behind closed doors as a husband and a dad.
Prince Charles, the passions and paradoxes of an improbable life, about what really went on in one of the most high-profile marriages of the 20th century.
And the heartbreak that followed. Few noticed the quiet bond between Diana and her brother-in-law, Edward. It wasn't a romance, and it wasn't a rivalry. It was something subtler, something hidden behind the rules, the etiquette, and the walls of the palace, a connection built on understanding, compassion, and shared pain. Tonight, we go beyond the headlines. We'll explore the moments Edward witnessed, the struggles Diana endured, and the secrets he has kept hidden for decades. We'll ask the questions no one dared to ask before. How deep was their connection? What did Edward see that others ignored? And what does he now have the courage to reveal? Are we ready to step behind the palace doors and see the truth that was never meant to be told? Because the story Edward is sharing isn't just about the past. It could change how we see the royal family forever. Prince Edward lived in the shadows of the royal family, quietly navigating a life of tradition and duty all these years. Unlike his siblings, he never attracted scandals or controversy. No bold statements, no public outbursts, just loyalty, steadfast and constant. While the royal household was often engulfed by turmoil, from the explosive divorce of Charles and Diana to Prince Andrew's scandals,
Prince Andrew is giving up his royal titles after a discussion with the king, the royal revealing in an October 17th statement that he is relinquishing his title as the Duke of York amid continued speculation into his relationship with accused offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Edward remained a silent observer, a guardian of secrets hidden behind the palace walls. People often wondered, who is this quiet prince who never makes waves? And now, at 61, Edward has finally broken that silence. The subject he chose is one that has long been considered untouchable: Princess Diana. But this isn't about tribute or gentle memories. It's about revelations that are shaking long-held assumptions, even among those who have always admired her. What prompted Edward to speak after so many years? Was it conscience, the weight of long-kept secrets, or simply a desire to tell the truth before it was lost forever? Whatever the reason, the quietest prince in the royal family has finally stepped forward, and the world is paying attention. Few people ever noticed the subtle but powerful connection between Diana and Edward. It wasn't a romance, and it wasn't rivalry. It was something quieter, yet deeply significant. A mutual understanding between two people trapped inside an institution that rewarded silence and punished emotion. From the moment Diana stepped into royal life, Edward observed carefully. He witnessed the cold stares, the ignored phone calls, and the forced smiles at ceremonial events when she wanted only to cry. Unlike Charles, Edward was approachable, warm, and genuinely caring. He asked, "Are you okay, Diana?" A small question, yes, but one that opened a door to a rare trust. Their encounters were few, but each one carried unspoken meaning. A former palace staff member revealed that when Diana entered a room, Edward was the only one who stood and approached her, not out of duty, but with genuine attention. He listened, something Charles rarely did. There are whispers that Diana once wrote Edward, "understands me in ways Charles never could." Their connection did not go unnoticed. In fact, Charles allegedly confronted Edward at Balmoral, demanding, "Why are you siding with her? She's tearing this family apart." Edward said nothing. He left the room silently, not in defeat, but in quiet defiance, protecting a woman who was slowly being worn down by palace pressures. Then came the tragedy of 1997. On that day, Diana's life ended in a horrific car crash, shocking the world.
We have reports from Paris that Diana, Princess of Wales, has been killed in a car accident and that her partner, Dodi Fayed, has also been killed.
Witnesses say the only royal to cry openly was Edward. He quietly flew to Paris, requesting to see her body before it returned to the UK. The palace never confirmed it publicly, but insiders knew the truth. After her death, Edward withdrew even further, avoiding interviews and public events that would remind him of her. This wasn't forgetfulness. It was grief that had no proper place within royal protocol. He also kept his distance from Camilla, silently blaming her for part of Diana's suffering. At Charles and Camilla's wedding, Edward left a brief but pointed note. "May your happiness not come at the cost of others." For years, this note remained hidden until Edward, now 61, finally spoke openly. In private conversations, Edward confessed, his voice trembling. She didn't deserve any of it. Not loneliness, not betrayal. She was more royal than any of us. For a man long seen as the monarchy's quietest loyalist, these words shocked everyone who heard them. Once Edward began to speak, questions that had always been off-limits started to emerge. Was Edward's bond with Diana more than just empathy? Was there a connection that the royal family had intentionally silenced to protect its image? One thing is clear. In Diana's life, Edward was a silent anchor. He witnessed her struggles, protected her in silence, and preserved her memory. And now, by finally breaking his silence, he has set in motion a story the world never expected to hear. Diana's revolution. The royal family had always lived by strict rules. Maintain your image, protect your privacy, never display weakness. For generations, this was their unspoken law. Then came Diana, young and vibrant, who changed everything. She wore her heart openly, cried when she was hurt, and spoke honestly about her struggles. The public loved her for it. Edward watched it all quietly, absorbing each moment. While the family fought to control their image, Diana revealed the cracks in the system. Her role wasn't meant to be central. She was supposed to support Charles quietly, but Diana broke that mold. She connected with people on a personal level, visiting hospitals during the AIDS crisis.
The Broderick ward of the Middlesex Hospital is the only specially designed AIDS ward in Britain. Today, the hospital reckoned that the princess's visit was worth all the government propaganda put together.
Holding the hands of strangers and showing warmth in ways no royal had done before. The more she reached out, the more she exposed the gaps in the palace's carefully managed world. Edward observed everything from the sidelines. He didn't interfere, but he saw how Diana's courage and honesty were reshaping the monarchy. Diana's growing influence caused tension inside the palace. Her openness and sincerity were threats to a system built on silence and control. Yet Edward did not attempt to suppress her. He recognized what she was doing, changing the monarchy in subtle but profound ways. Her presence reminded the world that royalty was human, capable of emotion and compassion, something the palace had hidden for centuries. Yet her visibility came at a cost. Diana struggled to balance her individuality with the rigid expectations of royal life. She couldn't simply smile through pain, she revealed it. Her honesty endeared her to the public, but complicated life inside the palace. Edward, however, quietly understood her in a way others did not. He saw both the beauty and the danger of her openness, and remained a calm observer. Edward's role during these years was unique. He did not make public statements or seek attention. He remained in the background, watching the royal family cope with the sudden shift Diana had caused. She brought warmth to a distant institution, but also exposed its limitations. Her openness forced the family to face realities they had long ignored, yet Edward, ever discreet, observed silently. The challenge Diana faced was enormous. She had to maintain her identity while navigating strict royal rules. She dared to show her emotions, to connect with the world, and to demand authenticity in a place that prized tradition and control above all else. Edward quietly witnessed these struggles. He saw how her courage, compassion, and individuality reshaped the monarchy, while also understanding the personal cost she bore. Even as the public adored Diana, the palace felt unsettled. They had built centuries of tradition on quiet dignity, control, and distance. Diana's openness disrupted that. Edward, ever the silent observer, understood both sides. He knew that while Diana brought life and warmth to the royal family, her influence also highlighted the institution's struggles to adapt. In this way, Edward's silence was not absence, but attention. He observed, learned, and protected. He witnessed the cracks in the monarchy and saw Diana's struggle to balance her own humanity with the rigid expectations around her. Through it all, he remained the quiet protector of her legacy, watching, understanding, and waiting for the moment when the truth could finally be told. Tragedy and silence. August 31st, 1997 was a day that changed everything. The news of Princess Diana's sudden death in Paris hit the world like a thunderclap.
Good evening. The princess who spent her life in the relentless glare of the public eye died in a speeding car in Paris, apparently trying to evade pursuing photographers.
Shock, grief, disbelief. People everywhere struggled to process that someone so full of life, so universally loved, was gone. Streets overflowed with mourners. Sidewalks glowed with candlelight, and flowers piled high outside Kensington Palace. Even those who had never met her felt the loss. Diana wasn't just a royal, she was a symbol of hope, warmth, and compassion. People felt as if the world had lost someone deeply personal, someone who had connected to them in ways the monarchy rarely allowed. Inside the palace, the response was markedly different. The royal family adhered to centuries of protocol, remaining quiet and distant. No immediate statements, no lowered flags, no visible grief for the public. In a world hungry for emotion, this silence felt cold and out of place. The public waited, desperate for a sign that the monarchy felt what they felt. Why was there nothing? Did the royals even care? The world questioned their humanity, wondering if centuries of tradition had hardened the family beyond feeling. Edward remained in the shadows, quietly absorbing the tragedy. He wasn't Diana's husband, nor her child. Yet as her brother-in-law, he had witnessed her life closely. He had seen her courage, her struggles, and the immense pressure of the royal system that often failed to protect her. While the world mourned, Edward grieved privately. His sorrow was profound, and unlike the rest of the family, he allowed himself to feel it without performing for the public eye. Edward's role in those days was uniquely personal, a witness to a life loved and lost, and a keeper of truths that few others could fully understand. The silence from the palace shocked the public. They expected visible sorrow, gestures of mourning, or some acknowledgement of Diana's impact. Instead, the reserved response highlighted a disconnect. The monarchy had always relied on discretion, but now the world was witnessing how tradition could clash with human expectation. Edward watched quietly, knowing the public's anger was valid, but also understanding the palace's adherence to protocol. Diana's death was not just a personal loss, it was a turning point for the monarchy. For decades, the family had managed its image carefully, controlling every public display. Now, The public demanded more than images or words. They demanded emotion, acknowledgement, and humanity. Edward observed this tension silently, aware that the royal family's methods of the past no longer aligned with modern expectations. Breaking the silence. Years went by. Interviews, films, and documentaries revisited Diana's life. Her story was told from countless perspectives: journalists, biographers, and family members. But Edward stayed silent. Until now. His decision to speak breaks decades of tradition, secrecy, and quiet observation. Unlike polished palace statements, Edward's words were raw, honest, and deeply personal. He did not defend the crown. He did not soften the past or excuse the mistakes made by those within the family. Instead, he presented his perspective. Diana never fully belonged in the royal world. Her warmth, openness, and emotional honesty were celebrated by the public, but seen by the palace as vulnerabilities. Edward emphasized that her loneliness and struggles were not only personal, but also structural, the result of a system unprepared to accommodate someone so real, so expressive, and so human. The timing of Edward's revelations is significant. The monarchy is again under scrutiny. New voices question its relevance, fairness, and adaptability. Edward's words resonate not only as reflections on the past, but as commentary on the present. They bridge decades, reminding everyone that the challenges Diana faced are not entirely history. They are lessons still relevant today. Edward's honesty has deeply affected the royal family. King Charles reportedly experienced a mixture of shock and reflection. His past decisions, the fallout from his marriage to Diana, and the public's judgment are all revisited in light of Edward's statements. Prince William, always balancing his mother's memory with his future responsibilities, now faces renewed questions about how to honor her fully without reopening wounds that the family has tried to manage for years. Prince Harry, who has long spoken openly about his mother's struggles, may see Edward's honesty as validation, but also as a reminder of unresolved tensions within the family. Beyond the palace walls, Edward's words sparked intense public debate. News outlets quickly disseminated his comments. Social media erupted with discussion, analysis, and strong opinions. People compared Diana's experiences to modern royal controversies, questioning whether the monarchy has truly learned from its past. Edward's perspective offered a rare insider view, a window into a world that had always appeared polished and untouchable. For many, his words were not just revealing, they were cathartic, offering a sense of understanding and connection. Edward's approach is strikingly different from that of other royals. Charles speaks formally, carefully, with caution and restraint. William honors Diana, but separates her story from his own path toward kingship. Harry speaks from the pain he carries as her son. Edward, by contrast, neither seeks attention nor sympathy. He speaks quietly, deliberately, focusing not on himself but on revealing what he witnessed. His words illuminate the human reality behind the royal image, showing both the pain Diana endured and the pressures of a system that often valued protocol over compassion. His revelation is more than a personal confession. It is a critique of the institution itself. The monarchy has long relied on discretion, image management, and controlled visibility. Edward's words challenge that system. They highlight the cost of silence and the price of maintaining appearances at the expense of humanity. His insights prompt a crucial question: can the monarchy survive without adapting to the modern demand for transparency and emotional honesty? Edward's statements also stir public reflection. His words reopen conversations about accountability, empathy, and historical mistakes. Ordinary people online engaged in vigorous discussion, revisiting Diana's legacy, her treatment by the royal family, and the parallels with contemporary issues involving younger royals. His honesty prompts fresh debate. Could the monarchy endure if it fails to acknowledge past errors and embrace openness? Inside the family, reactions are complex. Charles is forced to reconcile with past choices and lingering guilt. William is tasked with balancing his mother's legacy with his responsibilities, considering how much truth can be shared without destabilizing the family. Harry, having long felt marginalized and misunderstood, sees Edward's acknowledgement as validation, but also as a reminder of persistent divisions. Edward's words act as a catalyst, forcing the family to confront truths long left unspoken. Edward's voice is calm, yet powerful. By revealing what he knows, he has sparked reflection, debate, and reconsideration. Diana's story is no longer confined to memory or media retrospectives. It is alive again, reshaping conversations about the monarchy, its traditions, and its ability to adapt. His choice to speak demonstrates that silence, no matter how long, cannot erase history. Public responses range from admiration to criticism. Many praise Edward for courage, for finally sharing what the world had long suspected, that Diana's pain was not just personal, but systemic. Others question why he waited so long, suggesting motives or strategic timing. Edward, however, is neither seeking praise nor defending motives. His goal is clarity and honesty, to share a perspective shaped by years of observation and care. The ripple effects of Edward's words go beyond the family. They influence public perception, social discourse, and even expectations of the monarchy. His statements encourage new conversations about fairness, empathy, and emotional transparency within institutions that have historically valued image over truth. By speaking out, Edward has reminded the world that accountability and honesty are more than personal virtues. They are necessary for any institution seeking legitimacy in the modern age. Edward's revelations also raise questions about the future. If someone as reserved and loyal as him is willing to speak, who else might follow? Will younger royals feel empowered to share their truths, or will tradition and fear of backlash keep them silent? Edward's voice challenges the status quo, forcing the family to consider whether openness might strengthen the monarchy or expose vulnerabilities too great to bear. Diana's story continues to echo through the halls of the palace. Through Edward, her struggles, compassion, and courage are revisited, reminding the world of what was lost and what remains unresolved. His words reopen discussions, spark curiosity, and challenge long-held perceptions of the royal family. They bring both clarity and complication, shining a light on truths that many had preferred to forget. Ultimately, Edward's choice to speak is more than an act of personal honesty. It is a catalyst for change. It shows that truth, even when uncomfortable, has value. It demonstrates that silence does not heal, but delays confrontation with reality. And it confirms that Diana's legacy, her life, and her struggles remain central to understanding the monarchy's past, present, and future. Edward's quiet revelation has proven that even the most loyal and reserved voices can alter the narrative. His words challenge the royal family, engage the public, and reignite conversations that could shape the monarchy for decades to come. The story of Princess Diana, long thought settled, is alive again, complex, raw, and unflinching. And thanks to Edward, we are reminded that the truth, no matter how long it waits, has a way of emerging. If you found this story as revealing and unforgettable as we did, don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends, because Diana's story and Edward's truth deserve to be seen by everyone.